The greatest betrayal in a long-term relationship is not the affair. It is the waiting. The endless waiting for the familiar eyes of your partner to confirm your worth, to confirm your existence. You spend years arranging yourself, your life, your body, your achievements, to fit perfectly into the mirror he holds up. And when that mirror gets dusty, or worse, when he turns it away, you feel erased. You feel the slow, insidious death of your own vitality. And this is the paradox we manage. We mistake being seen for being owned. We trade the delicious mystery of the self for the suffocating predictability of the US. This exchange, this sacrifice of your sovereign self on the altar of domestic security, is precisely why desire flatlines. You see, the solution is not to convince him to look harder. That is exhausting. The solution is to turn the gaze inward, to find that forgotten, magnificent stranger you abandoned for the sake of companionship. I want to show you the precise mechanism for reclaiming that power, the moment you stop being an object of desire and become the untamed source of your own adventure. But first, we must dismantle the myth that is holding you hostage. The myth, you see, is that love and desire are two harmonious chords played on the same instrument. They are not. They are two distinct, often conflicting, fundamental human needs that we try, impossibly, to fulfill in one relationship. We look for love to provide the anchor. The anchor is the need for certainty, for predictability, for the safety of the known path. It is the emotional contract that says, I will not leave you. I will witness your life. This is the ground beneath your feet. This is security. But we look for desire to provide the waves. The waves are the risk, the journey, the hunger for the unknown self, the otherness we find both in ourselves and in the partner. It is the electric charge of possibility. This is adventure. And this is the central contradiction of long-term intimacy. You cannot truly desire what you already possess. Desire needs space. It needs the slight, tantalizing distance that allows for imagination, for projection, for the delightful shock of rediscovery. But modern love demands proximity. It demands constant knowing. It demands we become each other's permanent, reliable context. Imagine the shirt. The most comfortable shirt you own. The one that smells like home, that you wear every single day. It is essential. It is comforting. It is the definition of the domestic us. Now, ask yourself, when was the last time you desired that shirt? You don't desire the shirt. You rely on it. Desire flares when the reliable context shifts. When that same person, the one sitting next to you scrolling through the bills, suddenly gets dressed up for a night out. The lighting changes. The rhythm shifts. The familiar garment is replaced by the unfamiliar, perhaps slightly dangerous costume. And for a moment, you glimpse the stranger you first fell for. The one who existed outside the confines of the mortgage and the shared calendar. The comfort of the shirt extinguishes the flame of curiosity. And so, we place an impossible burden on our partner. We demand that they simultaneously be the ultimate source of our stability, the parent, the co-pilot, the financial planner, and the source of our erotic excitement, the outlaw, the muse, the mystery. We ask them to be both our village and our wild frontier. But the moment we establish the village, the frontier vanishes. The moment we feel entirely safe, the erotic charge, which relies on a certain element of risk and not knowing, begins its slow, quiet retreat. You see, the problem is not a lack of commitment. The problem is that we have domesticated the very thing that needs to remain untamed, the magnificent, untranslatable self. We often operate under a beautiful, yet devastating illusion that if we truly love someone, we must merge. We must eliminate all separation, all mystery. We strive for that perfect, seamless, shared identity. We want to know everything. We demand total transparency. We aim for fusion. And this is the thing. Love, by its nature, strives to eliminate distance. It builds the bridge. It seeks the home. It seeks the security of the known. But desire, my friends, operates on a completely different, counterintuitive logic. Desire needs distance. It needs air. It is a simple, fundamental law of physics and emotion. Fire needs air. If you smother the flame with too much closeness, too much knowing, too much shared breath, it goes out. And you ask yourself, sitting there on the sofa, next to the person you adore, the co-pilot of your life, the one person who truly knows you, why are we intimate, but not passionate? You see, we have mistaken the elimination of distance for the creation of intimacy. They are not the same. Intimacy is the capacity to share yourself honestly, while maintaining the sanctity of your own separate, magnificent self. Fusion is the blending, the attempt to become one predictable entity. And when we achieve fusion, when we know exactly how they will react, how they will fold the laundry, how they will finish our sentences, we have traded the intoxicating uncertainty of the courtship for the reliable, steady warmth of the co-parent. We traded the thrill of the chase for the comfort of the predictable landing. And now we wonder where the excitement went. The problem, therefore, is often not a lack of love. The problem is a lack of space, a lack of air, a lack of the erotic oxygen that fuels the flame, risk. When we feel entirely safe, when we have eliminated the possibility of loss, the erotic imagination shuts down. Eroticism is fundamentally rooted in the recognition that the other is separate, sovereign, and could, at any moment, walk away. Imagine a couple like Daniel and Clara. They have been together for 20 years. They finish each other's sentences. They have survived the illnesses, the career pivots, the teenage years. This is true achievement. This is profound, anchoring love. But when Daniel looks at Clara now, he sees the accumulated history. He sees the logistics manager. He sees the mother of his children. He sees the shared calendar, the mortgage debt, the familiarity of the sweatpants she wears every Tuesday. He sees the village. He does not see the wild frontier. The problem is hypervisibility without re-seeing. He knows her too well to be curious. He feels he owns the narrative of her existence, and ownership is the absolute enemy of desire. Desire is attracted to what is slightly veiled, what remains untranslatable, what is still theirs. We have asked our partner to be our secure anchor, and in doing so, we have asked them to shed the very qualities that make them exciting, the qualities of separateness, of mystery, of self-possession. And when we lose the sense that our partner is truly separate, truly their own, when we believe we have fully captured the magnificent self, the desire dies a quiet, understandable death. It is not a problem to be solved, it is a paradox to be managed. The secret to maintaining desire in long-term relationships is not perpetual closeness, but the cultivation of distance within proximity. We must learn to look away, so that when we look back, we can see the stranger again. We must reclaim the unseen self, the part of us that belongs only to us, because it is only when we are truly separate that we can truly ignite the yearning to connect. The solution, it begins not with a change in behavior, but with a radical shift in perspective. It begins with the simple, yet monumentally difficult, act of looking. We must reclaim the gaze of the stranger. And you ask yourself, how do I make the person who shares my dental floss and my retirement plans suddenly mysterious? How do I inject risk back into the landscape of absolute security? We must deliberately stop knowing them. The truth is, we mistake familiarity for completeness. We believe the person sitting next to us is the sum total of the predictable routines we share. But that belief is an illusion, a beautiful, comforting cage we build for the excitement. To ignite desire, you must perform an act of emotional archaeology. You must look for the layers that have been obscured by the domestic contract. Imagine this, if you will. You are standing at a crowded gathering, perhaps a work event, or a party full of people you don't know well. The light is low, the noise is high. And you see your partner, but you see them across the room. They are not bringing you your coffee. They are not asking where the car keys are. They're engaged in a deep conversation with a group of people you have never met. And they are shining. They are articulate, sharp, animated. Their hands move when they speak. Their laughter is spontaneous and unrestrained. You see their confidence, their competence, the self-possession that belongs entirely to them, independent of your relationship. They are captivating a stranger. And in that moment, a strange, electric jolt runs through you. It is a flash of fear, the awareness that this vibrant, magnificent person is fundamentally separate, autonomous, and that they are capable of living a full, exciting life without you. You realize that you do not own their vitality. They are a mystery, momentarily unlocked by the context of the world outside your door. This, my friends, is the erotic shock. This realization of separateness is the ignition switch for desire. We must learn to bring that gaze, that hungry, appreciative, slightly fearful gaze, back into the intimacy of the home. The bridge to desire is not proximity, it is imagination. Imagination allows you to look at the person across the breakfast table and remember the roads not taken, the professional ambition that still burns, the secret history of their body and their mind that you will never fully possess. Desire needs space. Space for the other to exist as a separate entity, and space for you to feel the longing to traverse that space. When we feel desire, we are not asking, "Are you safe?" We are asking, "Who are you really when I am not looking?" The practice of reclaiming the unseen self, therefore, is twofold. It is granting your partner the liberty to be magnificent outside of your definition, and it is also finding the courage to step outside and become magnificent yourself. Because when you are shining across the room, embodying your own mystery, you become a stranger worth desiring too. It is not a problem to be solved, beloveds. It is a paradox to be managed. The paradox is that the security we crave requires us to tolerate the insecurity of separateness. Look away so that when you look back, you can see them whole. See them as the glorious, autonomous stranger they truly are. And then, you can truly yearn to cross the distance. We finish where we began, on the couch. You are sitting there, beloveds, in the carefully curated safety of your shared world. This fortress of predictability, of familiar habits and predictable outcomes, this is the realm of love. And this is the thing, love, that profound, anchoring commitment, is the place you have. It is the secure harbor against the storm of existence. It is the known map. But desire, the spark, the yearning, the hunger. Desire is the place you go. It requires a journey. It demands that you step outside the harbor wall and venture into the unknown. You see, we are asking one relationship to fulfill two irreconcilable human needs, the need for ultimate security and the need for radical adventure. This is not a failure of character. It is the structural dilemma of modern intimacy. And so, we must repeat the final truth. It is not a problem to be solved. It is a paradox to be managed. The management begins with the self. Stop waiting for his gaze to validate your existence. Stop using his attention as the mirror in which you find your own worth. The most intoxicating thing you can do for your relationship is to become a person he has to strain to see, because you are too busy looking at the world, not at him. Imagine reclaiming your own gaze. Imagine looking in the mirror, not to check if you are still desirable, but simply to observe the richness of the self you have cultivated, the self that existed before the we, the self that holds secrets even from the person who sleeps beside you. This is the power of the unseen self. When you are full of your own journey, your own stories, your own vitality, you become a source of energy, not a recipient. You stop demanding, "Tell me I exist," and start embodying, "I am here." When you stand autonomous, full of your own magnificent strangeness, he does not look away out of boredom. He looks at you with renewed curiosity. You are no longer the fixture in the living room. You are the vitality in the landscape. This distance, this healthy separateness, this is the oxygen for desire. It is the ultimate act of loving generosity. We look away, so that when we look back, we can truly yearn to cross the distance again. If you are ready to understand the silence between you, subscribe to us. We are just starting to peel back the layers of what it means to be alive and desired in a long-term relationship. Tell me in the comments, when was the last time you looked at your partner and saw a stranger? Not a threat, but a glorious, autonomous mystery. I want to read your story.